Hey everyone, welcome back to Flip Floppers. This is episode 3, and I have Skyline with me.
Hey everyone.
Yep, and this episode I would say easily, for me, kind of sold the series now. Now I'm like in it for now. But, 'cause a lot of people use the 3 episode rule thing, and a lot of people don't like it. But this, I think, actually works for it because it's going somewhere, sort of. I mean, a lot of people, I'll talk about it a little bit later in the episode, but a lot of people had mixed feelings about this episode. It may have caused a bunch of people to drop the series, but, that's fine. But anyway, I guess let's jump into it. It's kind of a weird mashup of a lot of things, but I won't talk about that too much because I know that's everyone kind of has their opinion of what they're referencing in this. But so yeah, I guess we jump. I don't really say how long it's been, but Paprika's like wandering in this desert by herself, looking for coconut, and I guess they're obviously needing water. So it's like she's stuck in this desert. We don't know where she's at right now. They don't really explain it, but yeah, she gets lost, I guess, looking for a
Yeah.
friend. And that part was kind of like, was kind of sad, but I was like, they're setting up the story, obviously, of the episode. But she does get rescued, thankfully, by these people who are like quick to call them like Jawas from Star Wars. And I was like, yeah, I guess I could see that. I mean, they are alien-like and they wear robes. All you do is see their eyes. So I
Yeah.
guess that was kind of maybe a Star Wars reference to some people.
Yeah. I mean, and Star Wars is borrowing from the Old West,
Hmm.
as is something like. I mean, I've also seen with those Reavers and the Raiders that they had. That's also kind of like Mad Max, which is also borrowing from the Old West. So it's just kind of like that, and things like that, especially when they want to do action and they want to get like, oh, what the heck's going on? They'll just kind of start in the middle of everything.
Hmm.
It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, here you go, jump in, go.
Right, which is what this episode's doing because Coconut is missing and Paprika's looking for her. Yeah, it's like in the middle of like this. You don't know how long it's been. Could have been a week, could have been a day. You don't know. But yeah, she gets saved by these alien whatever you call them, and they kind of are scared of Paprika because she's different than them. They're not. I guess they're not used to seeing someone like her at all. So they kind of have her like locked away a little bit.
She has such long arms. Let's chain her up.
Right. Yeah. So this other little, I guess, a little alien kind of befriends her a little bit and gives her
Hmm.
some water, and they kind of start. She starts showing her around, and I guess you do reveal that they are low in water, obviously. So the other bad race, aliens, whatever we're gonna call them, are coming to invade raid their city, basically, for the water.
Exactly, and they're rude, man. They just waste water. That's how you know they're bad guys.
Right. Exactly. So these aliens are like, they don't have no water and all this. So that's it tells you again more Mad Max influences that water is obviously in the desert setting is very very crucial to them. It's almost like money to them, I guess, in a way. But so yeah, they're being like just harassed by these other aliens who are like pretty size comparison like 10 times bigger than them. It's a little
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. They were kind of like stock villains looking too, because the little people, they kind of looked a little bit different from each other. Their helmets looked a bit different. The way their eyes are shaped look a bit different. But one thing I always noticed is that the Reavers all look the same, except for the big guy that wanted to call Papika Puppy.
Right, the one with the big claw.
And the big huge claw in the front that she she took care of like no one's business.
Right, that was pretty funny. But yeah, so I guess Paprika kind of jumps in to stop this from happening, and I guess realizes that everyone's freaking out because she's super strong. I was just like, well, it's a bad example, but I was like, I think John Carpenter, I think is what it was, John Carter, I think. I don't know, some movie where he was a human on a different planet, and his strength was like times 1,000 or whatever you want to call it.
That would be John Carter.
So he can jump, and then so
Jump,
gravity,
Virginia.
gravity can fix a lot of things for her. But also, you don't know how really strong she really is outside of being if she's on Earth or whatnot. So it's like they play around with that, and there's a lot.
Yeah.
Just the
Well, it's another dream world, and the
uh,
dream world kind of exists to where it's like you're. It always makes you feel like there's something in there that makes you feel like the longer you're in it, the more your sense of identity kind of like gets lost.
uh,
Your sense of purpose doesn't get lost, but your sense of identity kind of like takes a backseat to whatever like role that you have to fulfill in this world.
hmm
So Kokona, probably with or without that mask, she would have performed some sort of role and played out this play.
Right, yeah, because
Paprika was doing the same. There's the one that and again, it reminds me of Old West. It reminds me of the Good and the Bad and the Ugly, and how Clint Eastwood always said to Eli Wallach's character, there are two type of people in the world: those that have guns and those that dig.
right,
So it's just like everyone has their purpose. Everyone has a role to play.
right, yeah. And speaking of Coconut, they do reveal that she is the leader of the Reavers for some reason.
Kinda. Well, that's kind of weird because it
Yeah,
was
kind of.
obviously that the Monster Girl Crazy Lily thing got her there, but it didn't seem like she was great friends with the Reavers to begin with. So how she ended up with them is a story they didn't tell.
Right, I think you're supposed to just assume that the mask she was wearing, they do reveal, was kind of controlling her a
Hmm.
little bit. And I guess the Monster Girl obviously said something like it was kind of your desire, maybe
Hmm. Yeah.
internally, that maybe triggered that. And to me, I was like thinking back to like it's another super movie, the third Spider-Man movie, the black suit Spider-Man, kind of has
Yeah.
that thing too where he's like the black suit feeds off of certain things and it helps him do other things he's not supposed to be doing. Like it twists him a little bit, so it's almost similar with this. Almost, I was even thinking JoJo too, because there's a mask in that too. That when you wear it, it gives you all these powers and it takes over your
Yeah.
body. So it's
I was
kind of like
thinking.
that, a little
I was
bit.
thinking. I was thinking it was like a castaway from Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask. That's what it made me think of immediately. But it does look like Venom. You're
Right.
right,
Even the
and it
girl,
does.
the alien girl, kind of has that because they shoot it with the arrow and she pulls it out, and you can see like the skin kind of like does something weird.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish they would have dropped her name or something like that. I'd like to look that up because it sounded like a Queen of Cinderella voice again when you get right down to it. But I
Right.
don't know if it was her, if it was just imitating her or anything like that. I mean, she plays every darn angry lily out there, so why not this one? But man, that was one hell of a character.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess they revealed that the little alien that was helping Paprika is actually the boss that put them two against each
Yeah,
other.
I mean
And when they
that.
reveal her backstory, like when Coconut kind of when you see her side, what happened to her? It's like this fountain of girls just in bondage
God,
suits, and it's
that
just
was
it's a little much for that kids show, but
that was
it's
eye
there.
watering, man.
Yeah,
I was watching that going, wow. Um, so do I recommend this to my normal Facebook friends or not?
probably not. I mean,
I don't think I am now. Damn it!
yeah,
Like I'm fine with it though. That's all I care about.
right. Yeah, it's just I guess showing that the creator is just like, well, we're gonna do this episode's gonna be a little more different, obviously. And it seems like maybe as they're going along, things are gonna get darker and the different themes are gonna pop up. But they really didn't do much with that. They just, she kind of confronted her and put the mask on her head. That's all that really happened. That she didn't really get involved in the bath stuff or anything. So that kind of was just like, I guess when she saw her, I was like, oh, you're interesting. I'm gonna use you in a certain
Hmm.
way. So here we go. But yeah, there's a lot of things they don't really explain as far as that goes, and like where is that girl from, and what is she? What is this monster girl?
Yeah.
Is there a third race on this planet? I guess there is apparently.
You know, once again, I talked about roles earlier. So she's the bad guy. Got to beat the bad guy.
Right, and they do get a little bit where Paprika just headbutts her and breaks the mask, and everything. They're friends again. But yeah, so they're not
Good
really
fight
out of the
scene.
woods. Yeah, they're not out of the woods yet. Yeah, that fight
Damn
scene
good,
between them was pretty good.
damn good
Yeah,
fight scene. A lot of really good animation going on in there. Just they did that. They did that really well.
right. That's why I was thinking the mask has something to do with that because we don't really know Coconut has this kind of martial arts training.
She might.
If she does, maybe she doesn't, but maybe the
She's
mask
nice.
boosts that. But yeah, it was pretty cool seeing that just in fight, and the headbutt breaking the mask was funny. You know, the only way Paprika would solve something is obviously like that. So that was pretty good. But yeah, so the mask falls off, but again, they're not really out of the woods yet because the bad guy's still there. So they have to pull out this weird magical transformation after Paprika eats some, I guess, some food.
It's a gigantic sweet potato.
Right, which is, for me, I always think of Dragon Ball Z when I think of that because certain characters in that they need to have a lot of food to fight, or that's the motivation to fight. So it's kind of funny seeing them kind of throw something like that in there. But with Paprika, it's like it's no surprise that it would do that because she's that kind of character.
Now, what's really weird about that is I'm going to jump ahead a little bit
Hmm.
when they ate the giant sweet potato, and then there was that one scene later on where they were like arcing across the sky, and the people in this little city were like looking up, and they saw them like falling stars, which is like happened earlier in the episode too. But you heard that little whistle in the background
Hmm.
that you always hear like in random city scenes in anime.
Right. Yeah.
That's a sound for a person that's going around in a cart selling hot sweet potatoes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So it's like, man, so we never see the cart salesman, but apparently he gets around.
Because I always hear that, and I always hear with like when something silly happens in anime, and
Mm-hmm.
a crow squawks, it means there's an
The crow
idiot.
squawks, and you always
Yeah.
hear that whistle. Yeah, that's the
Right.
sweet potato salesman.
Like the crow always hears where they like when someone's doing something idiotic, it's stupid. You always hear the crow because they're describing the character as being a dumbass, I guess.
Or
But
when someone
yeah,
gets talked about, someone sneezes.
right, exactly. So there's like those little things like that. I like that.
But was that? I mean, their transformation, their henshin, was
Right.
that like really overdone? Like it felt like it just like this doesn't belong in this. It's whoa! It just felt like it was really, really, really overly complicated or something.
It was, but I think right now it's like, the way I always see transformations in anime like this. Where for me, it's always like for some reason it feels longer the first time you see it. And
Yeah,
second time you see it, they cut things out here and there because
yeah, I get where you're
it's
coming from
longer.
there, but it still felt kind of like they were like overdoing it on purpose. Really, when you like, it's like uh, don't pay attention to any of the weirdness around here. We're on stage right now, so we're going to take care of this. It kind of felt like that. I don't know. I'm weird like that.
Right. I mean, a lot of shows, they gotta put the budget somewhere, and I guess this show wanted to show off their, transformation. Yeah,
Goodness.
'cause there's a lot of shows that even in the past shows that like I forget what it is. HXH last season was like that, where they had, they have the kind of watered down animation for overall the whole series. But when they get the transformation scene, that's where the budget goes, and
Hmm.
then they can show off all these, things they want to do. But yeah, as far as like the spins, the turns, and all that, it is a little over the top. But maybe they're showing you this. That's what they're going for. But a lot of people are confused on this because they are like they've never done this before, this transformation. How did they come up with this out of the blue? So they
But it
felt that
seems
was
like
very
they have,
random. Right, it's probably they have back in maybe
and
the
they do
days.
exactly what to do. Even their big combining power in the end.
Right, because even like other past magical girl shows, they've done that where the girls can do all these cool, amazing things, and when they get a chance to take a break, they're like, "How'd I do all that?" Well, it's because of this, that, and that. Maybe you had it in you the whole time. you know, that thing where you forget. But anyway, but it was cool just seeing that the transformation, and they do put a lot of budget in that. The fight scene was pretty amazing for me. Anyway, I like that. Whenever I can see something cool like that going on, it's pretty good. And for me, it's being a Pretty Cure fan. I'm kind of used to this where they get in one over the top fight where it's just like amazing looking, while the other fights are kind of just shoot a beam, okay, we win thing. But this time it's more like a Dragon Ball Z scene where two characters just going nuts fighting each other, and the crowd is just like amazed by this. And watching them get punched, like they even get caught in like the planet. Did you see that part? That was pretty funny. Where they get hit, and there's these two planets in the sky, and they get stuck in the gravity of those planets, and they're spinning
Oh
around.
yeah, oh yeah.
That's pretty cool. I was like, that's a small detail that they got in there. It's pretty funny. But I guess when they get to the close to the fight, they're fighting the monster girl, and she transforms in her, this is my final form type thing, and she's trying
Hmm.
transforms into this hideous like tentacle squid monster thing. I was like, oh, that's adorable looking.
Yeah, they always got to ruin a perfectly good lowly in these shows. I tell you.
Yeah, I was like, she was fine where she was, but I get it. They're going Dragon Ball Z, might as well go the
Now it's with the
route
full
for her.
ugly.
Right, exactly. But before they can finish her off, a strange thing happens with these three characters come out of nowhere and kind of steal her kill. That's what I would say. And we find out it's actually Yayaka and her two friends. We've seen them before. In the first two episodes, they're two gray-haired twins. They're kind of following Paprika in episode I think 1 and 2. We saw them like here and there. But yeah, so we finally get the truth that Yayaka is actually involved in this story about these stones, whatever that's going on. But I guess she's in a group called Direct Drive. You have it written here, but it's kind of interesting. So we finally
Yeah,
get to see the bad
it
guys, sort of.
it kind of reminds me of Hokago no Playdays.
Uh-huh.
Something blew up. They're collecting it and they're bringing it back to the power source.
Right.
All the power crystals got spread around in this weird dimension, and
Hmm.
now they got to go into the weird dimensions and get them back again.
Right. Yeah, they put it in some kind of whatever it was, and it shot up in the air.
A blender.
Right.
It was a weird power stone blender. You just put it in there and it started spinning around again, which is neat. It's mysterious. That's a good visual.
Hmm. So yeah, we get them, and it's just kind of weird seeing that. I guess obviously Coconut's kind of confused at what's going on, and so
Yep.
is everyone else. I mean, we were all confused just as much as he is. That this friend is now, I guess, involved, but obviously, again, the opening, most people are like, "Oh, it's just an opening." This one kind of does show you a little bit, but maybe that's just the fault of the opening to me. But yeah. So to me, I wasn't really that surprised, I guess, seeing her pop up, but it was cool seeing it anyway. I mean, just seeing what she can do. And I guess maybe it's like they're using maybe they're using more technology than the other girls are using in magic, I guess. So that's why I looked at it as anyway.
Yeah, they seem like they got the game going on, and whoever the Flip Flap organization looks like they're the punks. They're the DIYs. They're like, oh man, we just discovered this, and now we got to get on it. And Yayaka belongs to an organization that's just like, wow, we've got it all going on.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Flip flappers like everything's held together by duct tape or something. Right?
Yeah,
The other guys just like, no, we have real, you know, real stuff here. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. They fight next time. Maybe they fight each other. But yeah, so it's gonna be weird for Coconut going back to school. If yeah, because they're like, what's going on? And she's
yeah.
obviously gonna play dumb,
She already doesn't want to deal with how clingy Papika is because Papika was like, I do love you, I love you, love you, love you. It's like, okay, stop, enough, please.
Yeah.
So they're playing that trope as hardest as they possibly can. Now she's got to deal with her longtime friend, is now doing silly things, doing betrayal things.
Uh-huh. And eventually, they get out. They wake up in that, like you said, goofy closets they're in. I call them the cardboard boxes, but yes, they
What do you call them?
cardboard boxes.
Cardboard boxes.
So they're back now. So it's like, but also again, they don't really tell you how long it's been. That's one thing I was thinking. I was like, man, her grandma's gonna be very mad. And they do get to that. I mean, the grandma. To me, yeah, people are thinking she's just worried about her granddaughter, but to me, it's like there's something there. The way she was acting, they didn't show her face, so I'm like, the grandma felt a little weird in that scene. That there's something. I was like, is there something going on with grandma? Was she a flip flapper back in the day? It's kind of weird. I don't know. It's to me, I took it that way that she's acting a little weird.
Yeah, there's like I said, there's get this feeling that Kokono's going on a journey, and it's a guided journey,
Hmm.
and that Yayaka's got to said, okay, I'm going to present this boundary, and Kokono's grandmother is going to say, okay, I've got this other place where I'm going to set a boundary, and
Hmm.
hopefully we can. It feels like they're trying to control something.
Right.
What it is, why, don't know yet, but it definitely feels like they're in the background, like going, yep, okay, I'm going to be mysterious background person. You can't come over here.
Hmm.
But I kind of like that at the end of the day, that even though Yayaka was very, very businesslike, yeah, you're in over your head. You better stop this. This is dumb. Quit doing these things. We've got this. That Kokono's grandmother was just incredibly worried that she was late.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, I just thought it was
Made
strange.
give it a more human moment.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. There's other part of me just felt that was just weird that her tone and the way they didn't show her face made me think there was something else. Maybe this has happened before that she went missing and she's
Her
worried.
older clone.
Right. Or another option. Maybe the world that she's in now isn't really the real world that she thinks it is.
Hmm.
Maybe she's still stuck on that in the base with Direct Drive. Kidnapped still, and having these dreams or whatever you want to call them. That's another option. But maybe we'll get a little story next week of what happened with that. Maybe she was kidnapped for a day or two, and maybe Pika got her back. I don't know. Maybe we learn something. I hope so.
Yeah. It's definitely progressing. After 3 episodes, they've got enough to where you go, okay, I like the feel of this.
Mhm. Right. Just some random things to end. I mean, these are just mine references that I thought were thrown in there. Obviously, Dragon Ball Z is some Precure where they make the line where they're this, I'm so and so, or they always do that kind of superhero thing, or what I call it, where they kind of announce who they are in this other form. To me, that was always a Precure thing where they are,
Yeah.
Justice something, or what you want to call them. It's pretty funny. Or Sailor Moon. I mean, the way they transformed. There's a shot where they to kind of tilt back where it is a Sailor Moon does transform like that. So, and then Mad Max obviously is the big one. I think is about 90% of what as far as setting and world building goes. Is this definitely Mad Max inspired? You can't deny that at all.
Nope.
And even like I like the shot with the big old the submarine when they had they were rowing. That was pretty cool. Like yeah, that could be something I could see in Mad Max being a thing. Obviously, it would have like tank treads or something, and you have the same thing. People using their muscles to power this thing.
Oh yeah, you gotta have galley slaves. That gives it that gives it that good, post-apocalyptic world on the edge feel.
Definitely. And Star Wars maybe here and there for certain things, and then the living suits. I'm thinking it's probably Kill la Kill more than anything because obviously, in other things in the show, I like that. But yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of references. I'm pretty sure people have more than what I have here, but there's definitely you can see them having fun with this. Again, they can do since they're doing different worlds, they can do whatever they want as far as the animation and storytelling goes. It's pretty cool. And the last thing I noticed, I was looking at like the in-between animation because I was curious who was doing like the fight scenes and all this stuff like that. It's actually a huge list of studios. The only ones that stood out to me were PA Works. But I'm guessing it's episode 1 because episode 1 has a lot of like background artwork they show off. And then Trigger, to me, Trigger does a lot of like good fight scenes, at least in my opinion, and they can exaggerate a lot of things. So they did the transformation / fight scene this week.
Mm-hmm.
And then White Fox is on the list. I don't really know much about what they've done as far as like mind-blowing artwork, but they're a studio I recognize. I see them on there. So, and there's a huge list of studios. This is
Oh yeah. I mean, it's probably some of their production staff getting lent out or being built.
Yeah.
Studio 3HZ or 3HZ, whichever side of the Atlantic that you're on. Their production and planning more so than they're like a studio that has people that come to work under their roof and different things like that. So they're like guiding forces in different things, like and putting them around. So they don't really have like a set identity as a studio as of yet about what they do. Because I mean, Sora No Method was different from Dimension W, is different from Flip Flappers. So it's just one of those things where it's like I guess some of the production folk have a slot open on a season. And they say, can we work on something together? Yeah, I've got this great idea. Someone's got this great idea because all 3 of the things they've worked on are anime original. They're not adapted. So it's kind of like, I guess what they do is they say, okay, I know these people. They're good at organizing things. And they go to 3HZ.
Right.
I guess. I know. I mean, I've read so many articles on so many different iterations about how production and planning and different things like that work that, that seems like a scenario.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I see that. I mean, I think the only thing I think Dimension W is actually a manga, but yeah, it is cool seeing all these different studios. But I mean, like you said, I mean, obviously
is it a manga?
Yeah, there's a manga for Dimension W. It's like got I think six volumes out now. I think.
Yes, it was. Darn it. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, we've seen it in Shirobako and all these other shows that they do outsource to other studios. I mean, game studios do the same thing, where they outsource their the motion capture to a different studio because they don't have, like you said, they don't have that, that stuff in their studio, so they gotta go somewhere else. And with these, like you said, their list of anime isn't very big, so yeah, they have to probably get help from other people, just for just small things here and there. I mean, even like CGI in certain shows, they use it because, again, they're a small studio and they need a little bit of extra help here and there on certain things. I guess it's different for everyone. Some people like this, some people don't. It is kind of fun to see that. For me, I don't know. I like collaboration, so it's cool seeing different studios working together. For years, when I first started getting anime, I always considered certain anime studios to be like just never work with others. They're not gonna. Like Shaft would never work with PA Works,
Well,
but
I
actually
think
that's
it's
actually not true with some studios. So.
I think it's a lot more common than we like to think.
Right. Yeah.
And
Right.
I always think of studios as being maybe two or three producers
Hmm.
that know a distributor and that know a source of money.
Right.
And they get together and they say, okay, you know a guy in merchandising, I know a guy, that can direct. Okay, boom, we've got the light novel author. Okay, we've got
Hmm.
this stuff. Boom, now we got a production committee. And
Right.
now and then all the jobs just kind of filter out from there.
Of course. Yep, yep. Overall, what do you think of this episode? I mean,
I loved it. I
yeah.
think so far, out of all the shows I've watched this season, 3-4 episodes each of some of them, it's been my favorite so far. Just because, I mean, this show just excels at being fun and creative, and it it's one of those things to where it's like, it doesn't make a huge demand, but pay attention and don't just say, what is this? I don't know. Where's the story? What happened? Shut up and watch it and just enjoy it for what it is. I heard so many people like, it's like, I don't know what happened. Why was it? What happened? Where is it there? What was going on? I'm like, I don't know, man. I saw the same thing you did. Just, did you enjoy it? Good.
Yeah. I mean, I always like scouring Twitter and just Facebook, Tumblr, all those places that just even Mal, which I know a lot of people like roll their eyes at Mal because Mal's a kind of a joke to most people. I go to the forums on there; they're not too bad, but anyway, most stories, like you said, they were like saying the same thing. I was confused. I've even seen one person go as far as saying that if this show didn't have the flashy artwork, it would be a piece of crap.
No, no,
I was like,
absolutely,
no,
absolutely not.
exactly. I was like,
Absolutely not.
yeah, I was like, I don't
Yeah,
necessarily agree on that. I'm like, a lot of shows have pretty visuals and shitty stories. I can completely agree. That happens a lot. We've seen it in the past couple years. But this one, it's using both of them. It's using the artwork to tell the story, and the story is kind of there. Yeah,
yeah.
it may not be out in front. Like, I know most
Yeah,
people want a full explanation of everything right off the bat,
it's
which is ridiculous to think that for anything.
its hook is creativity. Its hook is giving it a little bit more than
Hmm.
the benefit of the doubt you might give something else, and it rewards you by being bright and entertaining and fun. And it does have a source. There's some mystery going on in there. But you got to have patience to be able to look at it. I mean, it took what 4 or 5 episodes of even One Punch Man to figure out. Saitama might be a bit of a jerk.
Hmm.
It took a while to be able to get that.
Right, even something popular as maybe like Stranger Days, Stranger Things doesn't get. You don't get the plot till about 5 episodes in the
I
real story. I mean,
quite
it takes a
honestly,
while.
I was like, after 2 episodes of Stranger Things, I was about ready to stop watching it
Yeah, I mean I can see that.
because it was like, oh my god, if you don't stop making references and call forwards to the rest of your plot, I'm going to get angry. And then by
Right.
the third episode, it settled down into its own groove
Hmm.
and was cool. I think this show is doing it's settling into its own groove with some of its weirdness, but its weirdness does follow a form. Like I said, there were roles that these characters were playing that were
Hmm.
recognizable, that you could see what they were doing, and they still followed along with the characters.
Right, and they're showing all this stuff like the transformation. I mean, yeah, people think it's ridiculous, over the top, and it'll out there, but it's like they're showing you now because they're gonna be using it later on. I think they're just like, hey, this is what they can do. This is the full, maybe this isn't the full, thing they can do with their powers. So they're still in the learning phase. So maybe it's just, but again, they're getting out of the way now. So when they do it later on, you can go, oh, right, that's the thing in this show, and they can just focus on a fight. Maybe go in deep explain it, but yeah, for those people that just wrote it off, I think they dropped it because of this episode. I'm just like, well,
Bye.
that's fine. That's maybe it's not for you. I mean, a lot of people like anime for different reasons. Some people are going to get invested in the story, and I can see some people. I can see why they dropped it because it's right now. The story right now is kind of like up in the air. But I find that what's fun about the series.
Story's easy.
Right. Anyway, I guess I think that's it for this episode. I mean, I don't have anything last to say. Just, yeah, they've kind of, like you said, sold me on this episode because this is the one that kind of was kind of what I wanted. I wanted this kind of action Magical Girl series, somewhat. So, I guess we'll be back for episode 4 next week. So, I guess see you guys next time.
But we are.
Bye.